Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video on RevAtlas. I'm Sandeep, and in today's video we're going to be talking about a brand new smartphone that Xiaomi is going to be launching on the 5th of November. So this smartphone will apparently be available in China as the Mi CC9 Pro, but also will be available globally as the Mi Note 10. And that also means we could be possibly seeing it being launched in India later on in the year as well. And before we get started, please do make sure to give us a thumbs up at the end of the video if you happen to enjoy it, and also do hit the subscribe button if you want more videos like this. Now let's get this video started. Now, while this device is primarily kind of catered towards the camera enthusiasts because it features a penta camera setup, and we'll get into the details of that very soon. But before that, let's talk about the other features and specifications that we can expect. So to start things off, there's a 5170 mAh battery, which is possibly the largest that you can see on a commercial device, a flagship device of this scale for example, and it features a 30-watt fast charging. Naturally, as you would expect, because of the larger battery, there's also a bit of weight added, which is around 208 grams. But then again, when you look at phones such as the OnePlus 7 Pro or 70 Pro, they weigh just as much with a smaller battery as well, so it's not too bad. And also it adds a bit of thickness, which results in around 9.6 millimeters in terms of the waistline or the thickness of the phone. But then again, it also has a bunch of cameras which also need space, and also with the larger battery you need room to accommodate all those features and specifications. Now, this smartphone is also expected to pack a Snapdragon 730G chipset and is also said to come with a 6.47-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED panel. Now, I feel that there could also be a Pro variant, the CC9 Pro higher end variant, or in fact the Mi Note 10 Pro variant, which will feature a Snapdragon 855 or 855 Plus chipset, considering that in the past, when you look at the older Mi Note series, the first generation for example had the Mi Note with a Snapdragon 801 chipset, while the Mi Note Pro had a Snapdragon 810 chipset. So it is likely to have a Pro variant or a higher end variant with an 855 Plus chipset, considering the rest of the specifications are pretty much high end, and there's also more reason to add a high end chipset along with it. Now, we already have two phones in the CC9 lineup, which is basically the CC9, which is known as the Mi 9 Lite globally, and the Mi CC9e, which is known as the Mi A3 globally, which comes with Android One as well, apart from MIUI on the CC9e. But now the CC9 Pro will apparently be called the Mi Note 10 globally, and it is also expected to come with a great camera setup, as Xiaomi has been teasing in the past few days. At the front you have a 32 megapixel camera, which has been seen on some other Xiaomi devices as well, but at the back is a penta camera or a 5 camera setup that you wouldn't have seen on practically any other smartphone in terms of the versatility that it offers. Now, the primary camera is a 108 megapixel Samsung sensor. It was the same that was announced with the Mi Mix Alpha, but the Mi Mix Alpha is sort of exclusive and will be available in limited quantities and is also extremely expensive. So this is sort of Xiaomi's way to get that sort of a camera quality and camera sensor to the masses, or relatively a more larger crowd. So this comes with 1 by 1.33 in sensor size, f1.7 aperture, and it's also going to be accompanied by a telephoto camera which has 10x hybrid zoom and 50x digital zoom. So I'm not sure what is the exact optical zoom that it provides, but then 10x hybrid zoom means that it could be possibly providing anywhere between 3x to 5x in terms of the optical zoom itself. Now, I'm not sure how they did this. Of course, there is more thickness in this device compared to some of the other smartphones on the market, but unless you go for a periscope setup, which the P30 Pro has, it's kind of difficult to get that level of zoom in a camera sensor without having too much optics or without adding too much thickness. So I'm not sure how they've done it, but it seems like a regular sensor and not a periscope one. But let's see what they've actually done and how they've managed to achieve this particular thing. I also feel that they could have possibly used the third camera, which is 50 millimeter portrait camera. It's a 12 megapixel dual pixel autofocus camera that's specialized for portraits. So essentially that would give you around 2x the focal length of the primary camera, but maybe they're doing something along with that and the telephoto sensor in order to give you that 10x hybrid zoom, along with some computation and software algorithm to get you that image at 10x. Apart from that, you get a macro sensor. So this is basically having a minimum focusing distance of 1.5 centimeters. Now, those of you who remember, the Note 8 Pro itself was one of the best with 2 centimeter minimum focusing distance compared to, say, the Realme XT, which also had a macro camera, the same camera, but the implementation on that was worse because it had 4 centimeter minimum focusing distance. In the Note 8 Pro, it was 2 centimeter, and now in this, it's just 1.5. So that means you can get closer to the subject object and also make it seem larger and have better details and sharpness as well on the portion that you desire. Lastly, you have a 20 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. So that kind of completes it in terms of the versatility. Now, we have seen penta cameras before, say from the Nokia 9 PureView, for example, but this is probably the one that is most versatile. So if you look at the Huawei P30 Pro, you have a telephoto camera that gives you 3x optical zoom all the way up to 50x in terms of digital zoom, and even 10x with hybrid zoom. But you know, the issue with that is if you want to take something closer, right? Suppose I want to take a portrait of someone without having to have too much distortion, it's always better to use the telephoto camera and have a focal length of around 50 to 70 millimeters, which in the case of the P30 Pro is not possible optically. So it kind of has digital you know, sort of effects applied to it, which combines information from the telephoto camera and the primary camera in order to give you the effect that you would need at 2x or around 2.5 to 3x. But in terms of optical, this thing, it's at 5x, so the kind of quality that you get would not be as good as you get directly at 5x or even at 10x for that matter. So that's why this becomes more versatile, because you have a camera that's the standard one, you have an ultra wide so you can get wider shots, you have a portrait mode which is in between the standard and the telephoto lens for portraits, and a special telephoto lens for those extended shots that you want to get as well. There's no mention of optical image stabilization on any of these teasers that they've announced, but they could possibly be just holding it for the final announcement date itself. But with that said, there is a chance that we could not be seeing OIS as well, since it requires additional space and, you know, more cost to manufacture as well. So there is a chance we could not be seeing OIS. Considering the size of the sensor is already pretty big, maybe they can offset that issue with kind of software processing and the image algorithm itself. So that was the Mi Note 10. That's all we know about it so far. In terms of pricing as well, I'm not really sure what we can expect, but if it does come to India, I'm guessing it could be around 35 to 45k, I guess, in that price segment, and could be Xiaomi's answer to the OnePlus 7 Pro or the 7T Pro for that matter. So it's been a while since Xiaomi had played in that sort of a price segment, the last of the Mi Mix 2. So this could be the return of Xiaomi in that higher end segment in India, considering that that premium segment is kind of doing well. OnePlus is doing really well and is sort of eating into the sales of Apple and Samsung. Of course, if they continue the trend of going higher with the pricing and eventually match Samsung, I'm not sure how many people would eventually buy OnePlus itself. But then again, they are still winning and they're still doing pretty well. So I guess Xiaomi also wants a piece of that pie. So that's it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching this video. Please do hit the subscribe button if you liked it. See you again in the next one.